Executive Director of Aqua Walk Group, and Professor Daniel, Acting Dean School of Hospitality and Service Management from Sunway University. We also have Miss Ili Maria, Manager of Sunway Lagoon Studios, Digital Marketing and Brand Strategy, who will be moderating the session. So Ili and everyone here, are you guys ready? All right, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much to Summer. Hello, hi everyone, good morning, welcome. So this is, I believe, our 4th or 5th day here at Sunway Mega Roadshow 2025 at Bugis Junction. So welcome to our sharing session, our mega sharing session, shall I say, on managing sustainable attractions. So once again, thank you so much to all the gentlemen up here on stage with Mr. Kelvin, Mr. Daryl, and Prof. Daniel. But I think we can do a little quick round of introduction for those of you who are maybe vaguely familiar or who are new to the faces and the names here. So shall we begin with a very quick round of introduction, Mr. Kelvin?
Hi everybody here, and it's so nice to be in Singapore. What a beautiful day. I'm Kelvin Ho, I'm from Sunway Theme Parks. We are home to 2 major theme parks in Malaysia, that's Sunway Lagoon and Lost World of Tambun. And yeah, we hope to be able to share these beautiful attractions with everyone here, especially in Singapore.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daryl.
So I'm Daryl, I'm the Executive Director of the Aqua Group. We design, build and manage aquariums around the world and currently own and operate 3 aquariums in Malaysia, in Indonesia and in Thailand.
Thank you so much. And of course, lastly.
Hi, really happy to be here in Singapore. I'm Daniel from School of Hospitality and Service Management. I'm the Dean of the school from Sunway University. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate our newly appointed adjunct professor of practice. Actually, we shall call Prof. Kelvin together with us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the introduction. So I think we are good to kickstart our sharing session. And if any of you here actually caught our first sharing session last week that happened in Malaysia in Sunway Pyramid, you can actually catch that on Sunway Lagoon Studios Facebook or YouTube. So this is our second sharing session here in Singapore. So I believe those who are within the circle of the sustainability have this common question, and it may be the most obvious, but they may not know the answer to this. So we'll begin with you, Mr. Kelvin, on are attractions like Sunway theme parks, as you mentioned, Sunway Lagoon, Sunway Lost World of Tambun, or even Skate City, and family entertainment centers like Aquaria sustainable?
We aspire to be 100% sustainable. We aspire to. However, I think we are getting there. At this point of time, I think it's a struggle for us to be totally sustainable. But there's a lot of sustainable practice that we put into the park. The way we maintain the park, the way we reuse energy, the way we reuse water. Okay, we have a system where lake water is recycled, hot spring water is reused for the pools, floor cleaning, solar panels were installed to help with the energy usage. An example, other things that we do in a sustainable way is the way we maintain our zoos. We have 2 zoos in both our parks, and we use this thing called the effective microorganism, EM in short. And what it does is, it is homemade. It's homemade. Okay, we made it ourselves. What it does is that it is a probiotic sort of. It's a good bacteria versus bacteria. We can have zoos, we can have animal, we have poop. Remove the poop, we have bacteria that causes the bad smell. In a zoo like ours, we use effective microorganism to disinfect the zoos. What does it do? What is the benefit of having that is that it removes the bad smell, it removes bacteria, but it is still very friendly to the vegetation. It doesn't harm the vegetation. It goes into the storm drain. It does not contaminate downstream. So these are little things that we put into the park that we manage and make it as sustainable as we can. Of course, there are other things like recycling, black soldier fly. We use all our waste and we make into fertilizers and so on and so on. So that are things that we do. We aspire to be 100%. I think we are slowly getting there.
So for Sunway theme parks, so Sunway Lagoon and Sunway Lost of Tambun, I think for perhaps like Singaporeans, for those who are familiar with the theme park, they think like, oh, this large body of water, but I think that is sort of in relation to Aquaria as well, because they do think, oh, a large body of water, but do you share the same approach or sentiment as what Mr. Calvin has mentioned?
Yeah, I think it's quite similar. For any attraction or any development in general, that's kind of the direction you kind of want to go with for sustainability. You want something to be planned in the future. You want something to be, in a circular economy. It's not just one use and throw away. So even things like, for example, our electricity, water usage, I think Calvin has already mentioned that these are important things where we utilize as much technology or as much development as possible to ensure a minimum of wastage, a minimum of use, in fact, and as much as possible recycling and reusing the same ecosystems and the same resources that we have available. So even for example, fishes that we have inside the aquarium or living animals, on that note, we have sustainable breeding programs and practices that we put into place to ensure that we always have an excess of surplus that we can return to the environment that we take from. So in that manner, sustainability is about ensuring both an efficiency of resource usage as well as guaranteeing a future and a return in the long run.
So these are both, I would say, entertainment destinations' efforts on sustainable practices. But Prof. Daniel, if we were to touch on more of the education sector-wise, because again, education is fundamental, correct? So how then do, I would say, academic institutions keep up with the demand of sustainability compared to entertainment destinations?
Yeah, so we're responsible for the graduates. And the graduates will end of the day coming into the attractions, working for the employers, and try to align with the sustainable goals that the company have set. I think what is really important is we have to have that instilled, but not just awareness, because I think we had already enough with the danger of doing this, the danger of doing that. I think it's enough of telling people the dangers. And then what is important now is what you can play to reduce that danger, even at the stage where you are just studying. So to keep up the demand, 30% of our syllabus have already incorporated sustainability, not just in the syllabus, but also as an assignment. So I think that is how we keep up to the demand, not just creating that awareness, but allowing them to start thinking at least, before they step out, at least start thinking what kind of policy in place. We are talking about policy level. We are not talking about just sorting this, reducing this and that, but get them involved and appreciate policy. Because nowadays, younger kids, policy is like rules and regulation. But if we introduce policy as a way for better future, and they are part of building that future, I think that has a total different motivation. Yeah. Positive reinforcement. This morning we learned from some of the audience here today. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand, because it's not just, even though last week we had this talk how it's in Malaysia, but it really just spans globally. It's not just, public policy in Malaysia, but as well as in Singapore. And since we are here in Singapore and we are speaking, to the Singaporean crowds here who are perhaps up on the floors above, wondering, milling about, and listening in on this sharing session, and within the context of sustainability, to our Singaporean crowds, Mr. Darrell, why should Singaporeans then consider or come to visit Aquaria?
Well, I think the important thing is that we need to recognize that we are a community of ASEAN countries. And there's a great deal of biodiversity, a great deal of experiences, a great deal of cultural differences and similarities that you can experience across the region. Coming to Aquaria, for example, shows a different side of utilization of the environment, or a different side of edutainment, a different side of a community outreach that you can experience. Additionally, of course, there are other attractions, other natural areas that people can visit. I mean, a good example is, of course, our friends here from Sunway. You can always come around and visit what we have here. So within that context, there is a broader ecosystem, both from a country perspective, community and cultural perspective, and also from just a pure entertainment basis as well. Different things to see, different things to do, different experiences that you can engender. And also, I think it lends a lot of insight into how different countries and different regions both enact their entertainment, their sustainability, or even their policies as well. And I think it's important for us to recognize that as the Southeast Asian group of nations, it's important for us to be able to have this relationship, have this traveled experience.
Yeah, I think I was about to say, I picked up on cultural and the whole travel experience because Singaporeans are really no stranger to local attractions here, right? But then how about in the way of Sunway theme parks? Because what's interesting is that for some of our team here, there have been Singaporeans who drop by and say, yeah, I've heard of Sunway Lagoon or even Sunway Lost World of Tambun in Ipoh. So what then would you say to Singaporeans of why should you come over to Sunway theme parks?
Firstly, Malaysians and Singaporeans are like close cousins. We have so much similarities, the way we believe, the way we live. I think it's just really convenient. I think first of all, it is so near, it's so convenient to just get over to Kuala Lumpur, have a day at the Aquaria KLCC, a day at Sunway Lagoon, even visit our university, the malls, and you know, it's just one convenient destination. You want to have a short getaway, perhaps that will be a very, very nice getaway. You want a little bit more rustic, we have Sunway City Ipoh, where Lost World of Tambun is located, a little bit more natural, that is surrounded by limestone hills. We have Banjaran Hot Spring, which is a beautiful 5-star retreat, and many more. The whole Sunway City Ipoh is constructing. Our hospital is coming up in April, and mall is under construction. I think the whole destination is going to be so amazing for Singaporean guests, which you can actually fly direct from Singapore to Ipoh.
Thank you, Mr. Kelvin. So you spoke about the limestones and the cultural part of it. It's almost like it's a very innate storytelling within these entertainment destinations, right? So, Prof. Daniel, as an educator and within this sector, I think one of the institutions that's very close to the younger population, I would say, how do you then, in your perspective, make people care about sustainability? Because first of all, this topic, in reality, it's not the most sexy topic, right? It's not the most fun or exciting, but how do you actually bridge that and make people care about sustainability and engaging with sustainable practices?
Okay, one of the things that we need to begin with is to recognize that the sustainable education already started before the university. So they do have enough of lessons about the dangers, the worries, and how this is going to affect climate change. I think we have to recognize that fundamental is already done. So when it comes to the university, I think we need to level up, and that level up is by storytelling, that you can be part of this. Saving the world is not given to only several superheroes, but every one of us can play a mini superhero part. And to do that, you can basically just translate it into things as simple as if everybody today in this class say no to a straw, just today, we are able to save hundreds of thousands tons of plastic to the sea. So small pieces, but translated into something that they could imagine that, wow, by just saying no to the straw, or if I want to take another level up, ask them to build a campaign next week for the entire university. Now we can do that as a class. Now how can we do that as a whole? So I think every one of us can play a mini superhero. And I think that empowerment is how education can bring for the younger minds.
That's very nice. I hope everyone, even to our live viewer audience, and not just on ground here, have really taken a very important note on that. And I think it's interesting, once again, that there's a reason that all three of you are up here because last week in our prior sharing session, we talked about partnership, correct? And we've already touched point on storytelling, on education, on interactive experiences at attractions and family entertainment centers. So since I think I'll just echo off of you, Prof. Daniel, that what kind of opportunities then lie within creating these synergetic environment through partnerships?
Yeah. So while we always talk about the importance of collaboration between business and business, but like what Prof. Kevin said, it is so important to involve the university community, the education community, because that dialogue between both, able to share the challenges, each side. So for an employer, you have day-to-day routine cases where you need to solve. But for education, we are thirsty of knowing what matters to the industry. We could just make assumption every day and thinking that, maybe this is a good case. So I think education has evolved. I think we also learned a lot from Singapore education as well. And Singapore education has already evolved to the extent where they only focus on problem-based. Everything starts with problem-based, not the syllabus. Syllabus is secondary. Problem comes first. So, and we inspired by that. And we are doing that very, very aggressively. But the question that we always hungry to find out is this problem really matters? Is this a real-time problem? And who can fit us that real-time problem? Our gentlemen on stage, Mr. Darryl and Prof. Kelvin. Yeah.
Got it. So, Prof. Kelvin, Mr. Kelvin, then, so what do you think about this, about the joint forces and being able to work towards sustainability and having this partnership, again, like with Mr. Darryl and Aquaria?
I think it all begins with a very powerful partnership. On stage, Mr. Darryl, there's so much we can learn from Aquaria, Aqua Group. There is so much sustainable products that they do. He just shared with us last night. There's so much we can do together. The conservation program that they do, we do conservation in Sunway theme park. So we have the Kwong Raya conservation. We have the anteater, the pangolin conservation, which we have a very good success rate, and the terrapin conservation program. But there's so much more we can learn from an amazing and proper attraction like Aquaria. So that is what the strength of partnership. But imagine when we are putting forth all this quality stuff, imagine we have amazing students coming from Sunway University to feed the workforce, elevate the education level of our workforce to meet the demand of the world. Just made us better. And don't forget, before us today, we have the Sunway Group partners from travel agents from Singapore, from Sunway Education, Sunway Manufacturing, Sunway Resorts, Banjaran. We have Sunway Medical Center. We have so many partners that come together and make this a better story to tell for our Singaporean visitors.
Mr. Darryl, anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, yes, not much to add to what both of them have already said, but I think the key thing is that partnerships are about not reinventing the wheel. We already have very, very good basis in some areas. Our partners here know much more in others. And I think one of the key things about sustainability is that it shouldn't always be about competition. It's not a competition. We all share the same planet. It's about being able to collaborate with each other to have the best result. So, like, what the professor has said already in terms of education, we do get a lot of the new generation complaining, I need to have 2 years experience before I can take an entry-level job. But a lot of the courses that now happen already involve a lot of workplace interaction, a lot of actual work that's done. And the problems that we face as operators, these are things that we can directly share with the students as well, and come up with a solution, validate what they already know, validate what we are trying to solve. And I think that kind of collaboration, that kind of conservation of resources, time and energy is a part of sustainability that is related to having partnerships. Even partnerships together with our other attractions, we don't see them as competition. We see them as colleagues. We see them as people that can actually enhance the entire experience that people can get when you come to, visit us. As an example, you mentioned visiting Malaysia. Well, that's part of what we want to try and do, to reduce a carbon footprint. If you're going to take a plane and fly down to KL, you might as well visit all the attractions that we have as part of a circular economy, as part of a reduction of carbon footprint. So I think, just to add on to that, that's kind of where we want to go with a partnership.
All right, so it's the way that I think all three of you have painted a picture. It's a very clear pipeline, starting from the education, and then going into the workforce, and then applying those, that education itself, right? So I believe we have one last question, one time to squeeze in one last question. So as far as Sunway theme parks go, and as far as Korea goes, or even education, is there anything that you'd like to share as far as the upcoming exciting things that you're working on within the sustainability, circle or industry? Mr. Calvin?
We are home to two amazing zoos, the wildlife park and the petting zoo in our parks. And I think the latest and most exciting thing that we experience is that we have two working hospitals, animal hospital, veterinarian hospital. So that's something very exciting for us. We are now able to share knowledge. I think most important is share knowledge with all our visitors. We can showcase how we do care for our the animal in our zoo, but there is a subtle information that we share. Conservation, our wildlife, our environment, the forest, and we can share with all the younger generation that comes to the park and have a good time, at the same time learn a little bit of Malaysia.
Nice. Mr. Dara?
Well, we've had a lot of conservation programs that we've been running throughout the years, but I think the most exciting ones that we have currently happening is our release programs and our coral conservation programs. So we've actually been able to successfully breed eagle rays, leopard sharks, bamboo sharks, and we are looking to release them back into the wild together with the relevant countries' Department of Fisheries. We also have a coral conservation program that we currently run together with the universities, and this is hopefully to restore corals and also to find strands of corals that are more resistant to climate change. So those programs are I think, some of the key ones that we're driving, and we hope to see a strong impact from them.
Something new for me as well, because I didn't know about this. Yes, correct. Thank you so much for that. Prof. Daniel, lastly?
From this education. So if you Google what actually makes sustainability more difficult to achieve, actually the answer is integrated resort. Integrated resort is the most difficult destination to manage when it comes to sustainability, in terms of the amount of energies and waste and so on and so forth. But what is so exciting about what's coming out soon is that we're going to use the success story of Sunway City. Integrated resort is one of a kind where university, healthcare, and all in, we are launching a program. And this program we have already introduced to Europe and Asia. We are inviting universities around the world to come and learn about sustainable city destination for 2 weeks with a price of just $1,200 for 2 weeks. So that's one very exciting program. We have piloted that for a year, and now we think that it's ready to open up to the bigger audience. Upon finishing the program, they will get a certification. But of course, more importantly, they have to learn every single business units of the integrated resort to understand. In fact, Prof. Calvin have been supporting us for the past 1 year. The program has been launching. So now it's time for us to open up to the world in a bigger audience. Yeah, that's something that we're very, very excited about.
Nice. Again, another piece from Sunway Education that I've also just learned about. So I believe we have come to the end of our sharing session. Once again, thank you so much to Prof. Daniel, Mr. Daryl, as well as Mr. Kelvin for being here, for sharing insights, for sharing new updates as well from each of the relevant sectors. So for those of you who perhaps would like to rewatch this session back, we are going to be on Sunway Lagoon Studios Facebook and YouTube. So once again, thank you so much to our gentlemen up here, as well as our audience for tuning in into our sharing session. I'm Ili, and thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, see you guys in Malaysia. Thank you.
All right. That is such an insightful mega sharing session by our Sunway team back. So if you guys want to know more and watch more mega sharing session, we are here with you at Singapore at Sunway Mega Roadshow 2025, right at the heart of Bugis Junction. So guys, while you guys are waiting for the next